this room is going to start to slowly compress us all.
So if you find a long, stable item, just brace yourselves, it's going to be fine. We'll get C3PO.
This is Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly Fry. You guys already know the drill because you're already lining up, but this is the microphone if you want to ask questions. What we're going to do is I will...
Hold on, Holly. My favorite episode is the injury where Dwight gets a concussion and Michael burns his foot in the George Foreman grill. My favorite prank is when they put my desk in the bathroom and we go hot and cold and then Kevin flushes the toilet. So how many of you can already sit down right now? It was amazing working with Steve Carell, and yes, we all stay in touch and we're all friends. What else? I want to hit all the top ones.
What's the weirdest thing that ever happened on set? Do you get that often?
I haven't gotten that one. She can ask that.
All right,
Yeah.
keep that one. It's a freebie. I do want to mention though, because those are the things you get asked a lot, but you have like a very serious resume of a lot of stuff. I didn't know you ran a very well-known film because it's too scary for me. House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yes, House of a Thousand Corpses.
And now
Masterpiece of modern cinema.
And I had a moment many years late where after you had become well known because of The Office, the revelation when I realized you were the dude from Galaxy Quest was a little bit of a brain breaker. Because I remember when that movie came out, one of my very closest friends and I being like, who is this person? They cannot be a real human. Like, this is too perfect and odd. Is it an actual alien? That is how good your performance was.
I am an actual alien. They put out a casting notice throughout the galaxy.
Where did you find it? I do have a question for you about that, because you've done One Life to Live. You've done many other things. But I wonder, what is the project that you've done that you just wish more people would see and ask you about?
Well, jeez. This is a very strange and kind of sad room. I feel like they store tractors in here. And they're like, those pathetic office fans go in the tractor room. We'll move the tractors out for a little bit. Or fertilizer. Holly, it's kind of like you're singing the story of my life because I've done a ton of really cool independent films that no one has seen. Now it's a hard thing with independent films because they'll go to a film festival, maybe they'll get a little bit of distribution, maybe not. Like I did this movie called Cooties, this kind of zombie comedy that 7 people have seen it, but it languished on some streaming service for a long time, and then finally it's on Max now, and people are starting to see it. Like for 10 years, like no one saw it. But all of these independent films, and a ton of them are really cool. One called Hesher that I did with Joseph Gordon-Levitt that is really awesome.
I hope you're all writing these down and that you can spit them out because this is the chance.
So yeah, there's one called The Boy that's really cool. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah. You also are an author and an activist.
Yeah.
And do some very extremely cool stuff in that regard. And I know I have watched you give talks where you talk about how like you are driven to try to make the world a better place, and that's very grounded in your spirituality. Do you want to talk about that for a minute before we go to questions from the audience? Before Dwight time?
Sure. It's not something that Comic-Con nerds talk about very much, but
maybe they should.
We're ready to go there. So, my spiritual journey has just been a really important part of my life, and part of it has to do with my childhood trauma stuff that I needed to deal with, my therapy journey. Part of it is I'm in 12-step recovery, and part of it is a 12-step journey. Thanks. And I grew up a member of the Baha'i faith, and so that has kind of like, and I left it for a long time and then investigated spiritual paths and, you know, did deep dives into different religions and meditation. And I'm an active meditator, and I write about this in 2 of my books. Well, actually, all 3 of my books. One is called The Bassoon King, which is a more comedic memoir. And then most recently, I wrote a book called Soul Boom, Why We Need a Spiritual Revolution. And, thank you. It's my grandma. And it's about exploring spiritual tools for the modern world, about how spirituality can help us both individually and collectively as a society, and as we see what's going on in the world, we may want to look towards some spiritual solutions rather than just legislative ones in order to move forward as a species. And that's what I address in my podcast, the Soul Boom podcast.
And you started writing that 3rd book during the height of the pandemic, is that right?
That's right.
How did that inform the material?
Well, one of the things that a couple of things happened. The pandemic hit, my father died, and that sucked. And that put a lot of things into perspective. And at the same time, really we were dealing with this global pandemic, and everyone was kind of floored. I remember those early months of 2020, just like, what the fuck is going on? And it got me thinking a lot about all the pandemics that are affecting humanity. So I was thinking kind of on the largest possible level around the various plagues and issues that we face collectively, like militarism and sexism and racism and nationalism and materialism and income inequality, and that these are pandemics affecting humanity. So that's what I tried to explore in Soul Boom.
I love it. And you also have been to Greenland recently. You're doing the Idiot's Guide to Climate Change, where you talk about the realities of what's going on, and you're on the scene pointing out how things have changed. How long do you anticipate this going on? As long as it takes?
Well, I try and do in my off hours as much as I can around climate change communications, because we're doing a really piss poor job. Climate change deniers, who are science deniers, are very strong at hitting a couple of talking points, and they hit them over and over and over again, and they sow enough doubt that it prevents necessary legislation from moving forward. And that's what's happened right now. The EPA, 25% of its budget just got cut, and it has now approved coal, and it's relaxed all standards on coal emissions, which are the #1 polluter. So we've really gone back to like the 1970s in terms of our understanding. And coal is also, it's ineffective and it's really expensive. It's really expensive to dig a mine in West Virginia, pull a bunch of ore, put it into trucks and trains, ship it out somewhere, ship it off of that, put it into a furnace, burn it to turn a turbine to create electricity that's wired out hundreds of miles. It is not cost effective at all. And guess what is cost effective? Solar. So if you want to just talk just brass tacks, and if it is about the economics, renewable resources are where it's at.
Well, thank you for using your platform to share this very passionate subject for you. I think it's super important. But now that we've done the heavy stuff, are you ready for fun questions?
Fun question.
All right.